The San Francisco 49ers stand pat at the trade deadline. What does this mean for the season and the future? Steph Sanchez and I will talk about all that and more right after this. I'm Jason Aponte. That's Steph Sanchez. This is the Bully Ball Podcast on the Gold Standard Podcast Network, the only 49ers podcast that made it out of MetLife Stadium with both their ACLs. Steph, what a weekend. How are you?
I'm great, man. Just coming down from it all. It was a great weekend. Great to hang out with you again. Great to see everyone that's out in the Jersey, New York area. You guys are awesome. At different points, like both me and Jay got approached by people who are fans of Bully Ball Podcast, two separate people who, say they listen to us and fans of the show. So hope you guys are tuning in and, appreciate the love as always. But yeah, that makes our day to hear that for sure.
Yeah, shout out to you guys who, had nothing but nice words to say and wanted to hang out and stuff. Sometimes this becomes thankless. You have a bunch of people that are yelling at you, saying awful, nasty things. Then you realize that, there are people that actually enjoy what it is that you have to say. And I think it's humbling, and it also reminds us that we're doing all right, Steph. Like we're doing okay. Like we're moving in the right direction. Speaking of moving in the right direction, Jason's dynasty team is out here cooking, and he just jumped Steph Sanchez in the standings. How you doing? How you doing? No, it's like this.
You caught me on a bad week.
I don't want to hear that. It's Whatever, a bad week for everybody.
Whatever, man. I have Hurts and I have Barkley, who in a dynasty league, like are pretty big players, right? Especially a super flex. You don't really have much better options after that. So that was pretty much going to be a L for me regardless. But I'll be back. And
this is my face not caring. This is my face not caring. I didn't have Lamar Jackson for a long time. Couldn't even start a second quarterback. This is me, my face not caring.
Whatever,
but we're talking about this league that is in sleeper. The NFL season is here, which means you now have a chance to win 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Pick stats like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to a 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right, and you could win big. And for a limited time only, new users will get a free $20 entry. And don't forget, if you use promo code GSP, you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. So Steph, this is something that Rob will get, but this is reference I'm going to throw your way. The 49ers didn't make a trade before the deadline at 4 o'clock Eastern. Is it time for our viewers to crack each other's heads open and feast on the goo inside?
I feel like you've made that reference before. What is it?
I mean, you just either say yes, I would, Kent, because that's the guy's supposed to calm everybody down, but it doesn't seem to be many. I don't know. Look, there's takes. There's takes out there. And for our audio listeners, Rob just put up on the screen complete list of 49ers trades today. It's blank.
I hope you're ready for nothing. Or hungry for nothing.
By the way, KMBR stole your yeah, so bad, dude. So bad. You better say something to them.
I hate when they do that, man. Come on now.
But look, 6-3. NFC's wide open. Other teams made moves, the Seattle Seahawks. And by the way, hold on real quick. I think Rashid Shaheed is a good football player. A stud wide receiver is some of the stuff that I'm seeing thrown out there. Like, settle down. He's a wide receiver who plays in the NFL who's very fast. We're not gonna call him a stud, right? Like, this is just relax. He's a player who's very fast, and he plays wide receiver in the NFL. This idea that they traded for Julio Jones is a bit ridiculous. But you see other teams around the league making moves and all that. Just seems like the 49ers are getting ready to tell us that all their deadline moves were getting Bryce Huff back, Ricky Pearsall, Brock Purdy, and all those guys back. Not to be confused with the New York Yankees strategy of doing the same thing at the trade deadline. But where are you at right now with that stuff?
I mean, I would have loved to see the 49ers make a move, just for, selfishly wanting some entertainment out of it. I think we always want our team to be active at deadlines of any sort, whether it's the trade, free agency, all that. So I'd have liked it. And it, by all accounts, it seems like they were in it, right? Like we were hearing they were in on Jermaine Johnson. The Jets, however, wanted a second round pick. Whether or not you think that's too much or just right for Jermaine Johnson, you could have that conversation, of course. But clearly the 49ers just didn't feel willing to meet that price, or he'd be a Niner, right? That's pretty much what it sounded like. And they certainly didn't seem, the Jets didn't seem to care about parting ways with other stars on their team. Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner, out of New York now. So it would have been nice for the 49ers to get in on that action. But I also understand that it has to be a move that makes sense for them as well. And so, Jay, I actually I didn't realize that they don't have that many picks next year. Like they really don't. And when you look at this team in the era that it is right now and needing all this help from young players, I mean, you got to continue to build on this team, right? And you need the draft to be able to do that. Not to say that if they traded for someone, that player wouldn't be part of next year, because that was basically what they were looking for in any player that they traded for, Keion White included, who, as we've mentioned, under contract through the 2026 season. But I think if they draft someone like if they traded for someone, they don't want to give up too much. So you got a first round, second round, third round, fourth round, and then projected comp picks that haven't been awarded yet, and then a round 7 pick from the Patriots. That's it. That's it. That's really not too much. You don't have a fifth. You don't have a sixth, and so they're kind of strapped for draft picks right now. And so if they feel like they want to just continue building through the draft like they had, last season, and so far those picks are looking pretty good, then I don't think I could fault them too much for their reasoning. So far, this team has surprised you with the guys that they have. They're 6'3", so why not just keep it rolling and see what else you could do with what you have.
Jason P says, how do you get tapped into all these East Coast Niners parties? I'm in the Newark Elizabeth area. Funny enough, Steph and I ended up in Elizabeth at Bamboleos very late Saturday night. Oh, God, I'm still recovering from this weekend. Okay. Jermaine Johnson, Bradley Chubb, whatever, Arden Key. They're not making the 49ers a Super Bowl contender. The 49ers aren't close to winning a Super Bowl. Fred Warner and Nick Bosa are not here. Bradley Chubb, Jermaine Johnson aren't needle movers to the point that it changes the 49ers defense. They're just better at defensive line. Okay, so you want to operate under the assumption of, hey, anything can happen in the playoffs. Sure, anything can happen. But let's talk about anything can happen. Let's talk about it. So you trade a second-round pick for Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson is off of an Achilles injury. What's going to happen when Jermaine Johnson gets here, Steph? My Achilles is flared up, and then you've got him for 2 years. Now, I want to ask another question, and I know I'm probably asking something very silly, but it's something that everyone talks about. You want to fix this offensive line very badly, right? Right? That's what everybody wants to do, is fix this offensive line. Let's punt away the first and second round picks then, Let's just punt those away then. Let's just get rid of them for guys that are not going to make you a Super Bowl contender this year. Do you understand how the thought process falls short when you hear the names? This wasn't Trey Hendrickson. By the way, the Bengals didn't move him for anybody. This wasn't Myles Garrett. This was Jermaine Johnson, who I think is a fine football player, coming off an Achilles. Bradley Chubb, who tore his ACL last year. And now the season's cooked because you didn't want to trade for either of these guys. Well, I've got news for you. Neither of those guys were going to make the 49ers win a Super Bowl. Nick Bosa and Fred Warner are not walking through that door. And then you can't look me in the eye and say, we need to fix this offensive line. Trent Williams is about to retire. I'm sick of Jake Brendel. I'm tired of Colton McKivitz. I'm tired of this. And then you want the 49ers to use those picks on offensive linemen, but you want to send them away for a pass rusher who will just marginally make this defensive line better. I'm fine. I feel fine. I think they did the right thing. Rather than panic and send away valuable draft capital that this team will need to stock the cupboard everywhere. By the way, everywhere. Offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, secondary, everywhere. Now, the season's over and they're waving the white flag because they didn't want to send a second-round pick for Jermaine Johnson. Guys, come on. It's fine. The 49ers are in a spot right now at 6-3 where, and stop me if you've heard this one, Steph Sanchez, the offense is going to have to carry them down the stretch. And if the guy that you paid to be the quarterback, Brock Purdy, is that guy, if Ricky Pearsall is that guy that you believe he is in the first round and he gets there on the field, you get back George Kittle, that should help you subsidize what's going on the other side of the ball. I'm fine, man. How are you guys going to feel if Seattle or Rams go to the Super Bowl and play in Levi's? It's embarrassing. I'm not embarrassed. I have no bearing on that. That's none of my business. I'm rooting for Bad Bunny that weekend anyway. I really don't care if Seattle or the Rams go. I'm not in control of that. That's not embarrassing to me. I don't care. You shouldn't care. The problem is that the 49ers are not in a position to get to that game, and it's in their stadium. I'm good. You can't in one breath tell me that you want this team to invest in this, and this, offensive line, all that stuff, and then kick away all those picks for Jermaine Johnson, who's not going to make the 49ers a Super Bowl contender, for Arden Key, who's not going to make the 49ers a Super Bowl contender, for Bradley Chubb, who's not going to make the 49ers a Super Bowl contender. Right now, this is exactly what this season is fact-finding. We're 6-3. Now all your rookies have to play, and you're going to find out where you are. And hopefully your offense can do enough where you can steal a playoff game. I'm fine. I myself am fine. No crash out. No angry thoughts. Save all those picks because you're going to need them to stock this cupboard. I'm fine. I am fine. I'm not supposed to start shivering and cry now because Seattle traded for Rashid Shaheed. Like, I get he's fast, and he's caught like one long touchdown pass every season, and everyone likes him in fantasy because he's next to break out. I'm good. That shouldn't make you get away from your plan and kick away valuable draft capital. That's all I have to say, Steph.
I'm fine too, but I'm bored, like I just
You're bored?
I just wanted my Tuesday to be a little more exciting is all. But like to counter one point you made, I don't think I think you're right that no player that they would have traded for would have made them Super Bowl contenders. I don't think anyone was expecting that though. Like it's kind of like what that comment says from Resident Dr. Evil there. It's not just about winning the Super Bowl, it's about remaining competitive. And you have this position that you continue to, have injuries here and there. You lost another player out for the season, Michael Williams. And not just that, you're going into 2026 with two of your pass rushers, your defensive ends, coming off ACL tears. That's not really ideal. So if you could have gotten someone this year who could have helped you with that next year too, then you do that. But again, that doesn't mean Jermaine Johnson, was necessarily that right guy or that he was worth a second round pick. And it's not like they didn't look into it at all, people. Like they did. But two teams have to agree on the price. And ultimately it just felt like that didn't happen. They try to work it out even like in the final hour. I mean, if anyone who was like watching, refreshing their Twitter feed, you guys saw that everyone kept saying the Jets aren't done. Jets aren't done. That was for Jermaine Johnson, and the 49ers were on the other end. It sounds like the Bears were as well, who also didn't get Jermaine Johnson. So I don't know, but it would have been nice. It would have been nice, but I understand why ultimately nothing happened. And I also understand why the 49ers would feel okay with the situation that they have being what it is, because they traded for Keion White. They picked up Clelin and Ferrell. We got to see both of those guys for the first time on Sunday, and both of them did pretty well in their first game. So you got Bryce Huff coming back. Hopefully, fingers crossed for that. I mean, you can never be too sure. I'm gonna knock on some wood, because you can never be too sure with these injuries. Like, I don't want to get into the Jacob Cowan thing, but I just want to say that, or the Yetur Gross-Matos thing, where he was about to come back and then he reactivated.
Those are your deadline acquisitions. Yetur Gross-Matos, Bryce Huff, Jacob Cowan, Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall. Those are your deadline acquisitions. So when John Lynch, whenever the next time he goes to speak at the podium, when he says these words, just take a shot for me.
And KNBR Thursday morning, he's gonna say, "Well, we tried. We got these guys coming back, though." Yeah. Shout out our guy.
Hell yeah, yo, Nick is man. He's something else, bro. Yo, this weekend
he had the Iron Man mask on.
Dog, this weekend, man. Saturday was hard. It was really hard, man. The invasion in the city, Chapman's party, the party in Elizabeth. Man, for anybody who's an East Coaster, Jason P, you could relate to this. We took Steph to a chicken spot. We took her to Crown Fried Chicken. Anybody who's from up top, you already know what the vibes are or whatever. So we did everything. We tried to do it. So Nick says, "What's up, guys? Thanks for supporting this weekend. I definitely wanted a player, but at the right price. Offense got to carry us for sure now, Jay." And yeah, that's what I think. Again, play keep away. You're gonna have to score points. You're gonna have to be in a little bit more shootouts, things like that. Your offense, this is what you paid Brock Purdy all this money for. You paid him this amount of money to get into shootouts at times and lift you. So now, whenever it is that he's ready to play, if he's ever ready to play, do it. Because what are you here for? So look, you can say what you want about them not like building for this year or whatever. Again, man, none of those guys are going to put the 49ers in the Super Bowl, I promise you. But, you do have to evaluate where you're going, right? You have to find out what's going on with Brock. Where is he? Is he going to be able to do these things for you? Where is Pearsall? So, you know what? Just go, So, do I believe Purdy plays this year? I hope so. I mean, that'll be back-to-back years in which he's missed, 8-10 games each season, and you're paying him. I hope so. So again, evaluate, move forward, but none of those players that Jermaine Johnson, you were on the phone, you and the Bears were on the phone. That's not a guy that's putting you in the Super Bowl. Just not. Sure, you can probably phrase it in tandem with Bryce Huff and Yetur Gross-Matos and all that stuff, but Yetur Gross-Matos got hurt again in practice. It's just, you just gotta lick your wounds and just move on. If you get to 10 wins, big win on the season. If you get 10 wins, especially with no Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, I guarantee you, if Fred Warner or Nick Bosa, either or, not both, just one, if one of those guys was healthy on defense, you would have seen the 49ers possibly, throw something up there a little bit more. But since they're not, they just held on to their picks, and I'm not mad at them.
Got to roll with what you have, and you still got to feel good about what you have. Like I said, the way the defense looked on Sunday, it was an admirable performance. Got the job done against Jackson Dart, who we could see this kid is dynamic and very talented, and It felt like it was all 49ers, most of this game. You look at the final score, it's really not reflective to how it felt in this one. And, that's credit to the defense, what they were able to do. And it's credit to the offense, too, who were finally able to move the ball. We've been talking about the fact all season that this offense needs to carry this team. Are we finally at this point, though? Are we finally going to see that?
Yeah, I think I think that's not even something crazy to ask either. Okay,
Yes,
you're back,
man.
Brock Purdy. We paid you a lot of money to lift. You're the franchise quarterback. What Mac Jones is doing right now is admirable, replacing you. But we didn't pay him all that money. We paid you all that money. And this is Brock's team, right? So how do you mitigate the defensive loss? You've got to put up points. You got to get back in there. You have to win, however it is that you do, whether it is playing keep away with the ball like you did against the Rams in the first game, throwing the football, getting back and forth into a shootout. You got to find a way to get this done. Like, you have to win games, Brock, because that's what we paid you for. And I hate to say it's like as simple as that, but it is as simple as that. We didn't pay you to just say, hey, listen, if he's banged up, we got Mac Jones, so I feel good. Nah, you're paying him way too much for him to be banged up and not play and to be playing subpar. So I hate to turn this into a Brock thing, but I need this offense to start rolling whenever it is that he's back. So
When is that going to be? Like, we don't even know.
I don't
Rob
even know.
doesn't even know.
I don't even know.
Kyle doesn't even know. Like, I don't know. I worry that we might not see Brock again this season. Like, legitimate concern for me.
That would be super, super disappointing because you could have let him play this season out without the contract.
Yeah.
That would be very disappointing because then that would be back-to-back years in which you've shown that you cannot stay healthy the entire time. And now the money's yours now. So that would be very disappointing. Again, it's not I think it was easier to digest when he was the last pick in the draft. And I mean, he still was, but he's not being paid like the last pick in the draft. When he was making $1 million, $2 million, and it was all like found money.
Yep.
But you're making that bread now. And everybody that's paid higher up in that group, they're asked to mitigate the losses that you have to have on defense or on offense to pay you, right? Josh Allen is throwing to plumbers. Their defense is poor. But they count on Josh Allen because he's that guy. And I'm not trying to say that him and Purdy are in the same. But Josh Allen is the reason that they have a chance. They just beat the Kansas City Chiefs. So when you pay a quarterback and you pay him up high, it's supposed to be because, hey, our defense is a little banged up. Finish the job for us. Hey, you know what? Some of our guys are down. Lift the guys that are there. That's what that money constitutes. I'm sorry. I don't know how better to say it, but that's what you're going to have to do the rest of the season if you think that you have a chance at something. We'll still never say, hey, we don't think that we have a chance. I don't think that that's true. And I don't think they're waving the white flag. I just think they were, again, like, here's the other thing. Here's one more thing I'll say, Steph. How much you want to bet if the 49ers would have sent a second-round pick for Jermaine Johnson? Jermaine Johnson comes over here. He plays all right. But the Jets use that second-round pick on an offensive lineman, and then the talk is, I can't believe the Jets, they let this offensive lineman, like, you see how quickly all this stuff will spiral out of control? I'd rather you just, stick to your guns and just say that John Lynch can't draft, which I don't believe that's true either. But it would play itself out. It will play itself out that same exact way. Oh, with our pick, the Jets took this lineman, and he's really good. John Lynch is dumb for sending. Like, do you see how it writes itself? So this is why I'm not tripping about any of this, because there will always be one side of this, and it's probably going to be me, maybe me being the pessimistic side of it. Just like, bro, like, this is how it's going to play out. It is going to play out this way. You know it is, because that's what we always do when we trade picks away is you look and see who they got, and you're just like, even Monday, right? Monday. Walter Nolan plays his first game. Everybody's like, I told you I wanted Walter Nolan, and look at him. You don't see the endless cycle of how this goes with draft picks and who you didn't draft and who you let somebody else draft. And you don't see how this exactly would have played out the same way if you would have sent a second-round pick for Jermaine Johnson. Like, Jermaine Johnson isn't moving the 49ers into special territory. I think he's a very good football player. But come on.
Man, you actually watched that game? I mean,
Well, I watched because I was, my fantasy league that I had to start Trey McBride, Gadsden, and Brock Bowers because I didn't have an extra quarterback. I put Brock Bowers as super flex. And he had Dak and somebody else. That last Dak interception won me my week by 0.15 points. But shout out to Brock Bowers, man. 43.3 points. Appreciate you,
A
gang.
lot more coming. A lot more coming his way.
Oh, yeah.
Jacoby Myers getting traded.
Jacoby Myers is gone, right?
Yeah.
Well. You're sleeping on our king, Jack Bex, but that might, yeah. Tony says they should probably tell him to get the surgery, and that'll inflate max value in offseason trades. Go ahead, Steph.
God.
God, man.
I don't know if Brock's gonna need surgery. I know Kyle was asked about it, and he said not to his knowledge, which doesn't make me feel better. Like any like update that Kyle gives doesn't really make anyone feel better. It doesn't move the needle. It doesn't move the needle. Nick with another super chat. Shout out you, man. He said the Niner curse of signing the player. This training staff has serious issues. Both Ricky and Brock should have been on IR, so it was definitely mishandled. So the IR thing is an interesting discussion because the 49ers have told us why they didn't put them on IR. For one, for Pearsall, that does feel like a mishandling because they did feel like that was going to be on the shorter end, like around 4 weeks. And remember, like every team only has 8 designations of return from IR that they can make for a season. So when it's that early in the year, you kind of want to ration those because the 49ers have been on the other end of the stick where they used a lot of them early in the season and then they were screwed towards the end and didn't have any more return designations. So this year they're trying to play it safe and thinking, oh, well, he'll probably be back within 4 weeks, except no, that didn't happen. But that seems to continue to point and reflect badly on what the hell's happening with the staff, like how they can't seem to gauge timelines, how I don't know if they're rushing guys back, but like guys who are rehabbing get re-aggravated again. Like I can't make sense of what's going on here, but this is one thing that absolutely needs to be addressed in the off season. Like I have had enough. And the same thing with Brock. Like you go into it and you feel like, it's kind of week to week, he'll be fine. Then he feels like he's fine and he plays in that Jags game only to make the injury worse. And we haven't seen him since. Like, that's the mishandling. I don't fault them for like their reasoning of not wanting to put them on IR. But now it's just ridiculous. Now it just looks stupid. But it looks stupid on the staff, the strength and conditioning, or whoever is in charge of timelines and all that. Like it looks really bad. And I know we have another super chat, but Jay, did you want to say something about that really quick?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. Imad Khan says this is how it goes for the 49ers. They got a quarterback to go to the Super Bowl and goes downhill for the quarterback. Example, Jimmy G.
How does this keep happening to us, man? And then there's a quarterback who, that when that guy gets hurt, there's a quarterback who like looks good in the meantime, and we're like, maybe we shouldn't have paid that guy.
I think we're due to just do this for the rest of our lives. And I have a theory. Now. I have a theory. The football gods, when they gave us Joe and then Steve, I think the blood sacrifice was you're never gonna have
that's it.
That guy. Yeah, you're never gonna have a guy like that again because we gave him to you back to back. So that's just my theory. I mean, at this point, we got to run with all theories because whatever's happening is like is not straight up like. It's not down logic lane. So we got to start thinking outside the box. But
I did want to return to a question that Rob posed to us at the bottom there of who comes back first, Pearsall Brock Purdy or Brandon Aiyuk. Because now to this point, like they've kind of gone past what when we expected them to come back. Brandon Aiyuk still not so much, but Kyle Shanahan said they were not going to open his practice window this week. Now remember the practice window's 3 weeks long, so he's not coming back, I would think, in the next 3 weeks is kind of what it sounds like to me. Now, you could open a guy's practice window and he could come back in that first week, but based on how everything has gone so far with this Brandon Aiyuk thing, that's not what I'm expecting. I would expect they use the full max of that, the 3 weeks. But so anyway, who do you think we'd see first, Purdy or Aiyuk?
Yes.
Yes, you mean no? I would just say no.
Listen to me. I floated this out there and you thought I was crazy. Something stinks about this Brandon Aiyuk thing. It stinks to high heaven, and I just can't prove it yet. And it has since it started. And I do believe the San Francisco 49ers are so desperate to get out of this Brandon Aiyuk contract and trade him that they want to keep him off the field so he doesn't look a little bit slower, doesn't look like he bounced back, to continue to keep the mystery that Brandon Aiyuk is fine and dandy and we'll trade him to you and he's going to be great for you. I cannot shake this feeling. Nothing about the language has been consistent. No, the messaging is off on both sides. Everything is weird. Everything is weird. Everything is weird. No one is saying anything that is definitive. Hey, it might be this week. It went from week 6 to, well, we'll do week 10 and then week 12 and like, there is no timeline on this. The guy's running around. I don't even know if that's allowed at practice. Something is weird here, man. And how could you not even like question what's going on with this, with the way that this thing has been handled?
I question everything at this point. Like, I question everything. I'm skeptical of just everything they tell us. I'm just assuming that every injury, every timeline they give us is going to be longer than what they say. And it's a problem. It's a problem. So, shout out Niner Empire DMV member for 28 months.
Oh, hell yeah. What up, Jason and Steph? Had a blast with you on Saturday. Yeah, we had a blast too. By the way, since it takes a year for the injury to happen and come back, week 7 of 2024. Week 7. We're past the year. Something's weird. Something's real weird. I can't prove it yet. But if you're saying the year is the landmark, we're past the year. Can't even get his practice window open. But I'm high. You got it, bud. Look, man, I don't know. Either way, what I need to see out of these two, who I need to see out of these two is Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
So, who do I want to see on the field? I want to see Brock Purdy. Because we paid you to be the guy.
I mean, they both got paid, but
yeah, they did.
Purdy exponentially more.
Right. We paid you to be the guy. We didn't pay you to be the guy and we can win games because Mac Jones is behind you. That's not what the money's about. The money is for you to be the guy and be out there. And you have to evaluate him. If he doesn't play again this season, another lost season only further exacerbates any noise around Brock Purdy and what you think about him, because we won't have data to point to. Yeah. We'll have week 1 and we'll have the Jacksonville game.
Well, we have the data from the previous season, which wasn't very good.
And then we'll always have 2023, and the friends that we made along the way.
That's all we have, man. That's all we have.
But he needs to play more than Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah, he does.
And that's who I need to see. Like with Brandon Aiyuk, if he sits out the year, I'm good. Like I'm chilling. Like I'm good off that. But if Brock misses another season like this or whatever, where he's been injured, the only year he wasn't injured was 2023. And he got paid the money. You could have waited. You could have sat for another year and let him play it out. But he's got to play. He has to play. Because you can't just say, hey, we won a bunch of games because our franchise quarterback was out. He has to play. He has to be good. He doesn't just have to play.
Yeah, it's not just it. That's not it. Yes, exactly. He can't just be out there and stink it up. He has to continue to prove his worth, I think, for this team. And I think a part of us are a little nervous that it'll still look like it did in 2024. But we were really hoping, and we're going to use this 2025 season as kind of that true test of 2024 was a fluke season for Brock because he didn't have all of his guys healthy, right? But for the most part, the offense has stayed healthy. At least when Brock will come back, it'll be healthy. Because, I mean, I'm assuming Pearsall will come back before Brock at this point. So, Kittle's back. You got McCaffrey. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you and this is, I guess, the contract. All right, so I'm bad with all this stuff and everything, where people are just like, oh, you can get out of it after, this year and everything. The guaranteed money goes away in 2028. Everything else is different, right? So I guess you're really just assuming that he plays well enough that they renegotiate the contract and they fix it or whatever, but guaranteed money goes away when he turns 29. You gonna say something?
No, it's just laughing.
Dead cap money, that's the 49ers have shown that they're not really, they ate a ton of dead cap this offseason to move on from people. But look, I want to reiterate this. I think Brock's the guy. I miss Brock Purdy. I think he's the guy who can lift the offense to different places. But I can't go off that without data. I can't go off that without tape. I can't go off that without sample size. Right? Otherwise, I'm just wishing on a star. What I will tell you is the 49ers wouldn't be 6-3 without Matt Jones. And he's been winning however necessary. And I don't care what the opponent is because the team is so decimated by injuries. I mean, the ragtag group of wide receivers that he's throwing to. Demarcus Robinson. Kendrick Bourne when he decides to catch. Juwan Jennings had a good game Sunday. Everybody knows the ball's going to Christian McCaffrey, and yet they can't stop it. I still think Brock's the guy, but I need to see it. And I'm sorry that I've turned it into this or whatever, but I think that's the only way that you can really look at their inactivity at the trade deadline and say, this is what they're banking on, because the offense would have to lift and do more. And how do you get the offense to lift? You get your franchise quarterback on the field. And if he can't get on the field, then we just kick the can down the road and have to have the conversation all over again. I can hear it right now, Steph. Oh, Brock's healthy and ready to go in the training camp, and he's got no issues, and then right back in the saddle, man. So it is a little like, I do want to see Brock Purdy play because I think the real potential of this team, whatever it is that you think it is this season, is through the offense, and it has to be with Brock Purdy as the quarterback.
Are you saying because it has to be because you paid him, or because you think Brock Purdy raises the ceiling of the offense that much more than Mac Jones?
Both. I think Mac Jones can stay in games where things are close, right? Like I can't see him getting into a shootout back and forth. Now maybe if Ricky Pearsall comes back, you think of things like that, but I think both.
Maybe if the run game is going, he could. I mean, which we didn't have in the first few weeks of the season. Like, you're starting to see that get rolling now. And
yeah. Well, with the running game, I don't want to get, they have looked better. I don't want to get too happy because, Stevie Wonder could have seen that they were going to be able to run all over that Giants run defense, right? They're putrid, right? Same thing with Atlanta. I was a little bit more shocked at that one, but they beat them up inside. Against poor run defenses, they're going to go off. But that's not what this 49ers offense was built on. They were able to run the football on anybody. But they took advantage of a good situation. And at least I can say that they've done that. Because if they're not running the ball against poor matchups, then we've got a bigger issue to deal with. But I just think, look, if you're going to be going through this, you're going to be going through bumps and bruises, right? Upton Stout has been giving up some plays. Obviously, the safeties, they played much better in this game. Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa, I think, combined allowed 17 yards on 4 catches for the whole game. So you're starting to figure that stuff out. But better offenses, better teams are going to push you in different ways. And the first test starts on Sunday. Against Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. Matthew Stafford has been very good this season. So you are evaluating. Those are the games that you start to fear, can you get into those and go back and forth? Can the 49ers duplicate their game plan from that Thursday night game? I sure hope so. And that's the game plan they better be installing, with Mac, right? But if that game starts to get, back and forth, do you feel good about, right, like being in those types of games? And I just don't think the offense is suited to win those types of games.
I mean, they beat them once already, so I mean, you do.
Yeah, but they played keep away the entire game. I'm talking about like
but that needs
Matthew
to be
Stafford,
part of their
bing
strategy.
bong. No, that needs to
well.
be the game plan again. You need to play that game all over again. Like, find
saying.
a way to duplicate that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Keep away should be part of the offensive strategy. I know we wonder whether, the 49ers offense could keep up in a shootout. Probably not, but I think you have to be able to play your game and be complementary and balanced, and that could go a long way. We're now seeing special teams actually, grow a pair and be good.
best unit on the team, by the way.
Like, full stop. Like, not even a joke.
Not even joking. Not even trolling.
Not even a joke. But that's what I mean. Like, if you have all three phases playing complementary to each other, then you could find yourself in a lot of favorable positions to win games, and that's what the 49ers need to do on Sunday. I do expect that. Of course, the Rams are probably going to have a bit of a better effort than they did in the first game. I think the 49ers will have a bit of a tougher time, given that they won't have Fred Warner for this game, among others. So, but they're going to roll with who they have, and
yeah,
we'll see.
Nick is right. Nick is right, though. You could put the.
Most definitely.
Nick,
Shanahan seems to coach better against McVay.
Shanahan turns into the coach from The Waterboy, and on the other side, he sees like a dog or a baby, and he's drafting up the plays and everything. No, what I will say about that is, it's what will always keep me like no 49ers Rams game. Again, I talked about this. Hasn't been it. There's no blowouts on the Rams or the 49ers. Either the 49ers win, blow them out, or the Rams barely win. That's it. That's just how it goes. Like, the Rams have never blown out the 49ers during the Shanahan and Kyle, time, like after 2019. So the familiarity, that part is like all there. And look, it is what it is. Like, if you look through the rosters, you're gonna start to talk yourself into the place you were that Thursday night football game, right? But I still have a hard time looking at this team, depending on who's back, depending on who plays. I still have a hard time looking at this 49ers team and not being able to keep it close. Now, Fred Warner played in that game. That helps. So, yeah, it's just Tatum Batoon has been really good, though. I really, 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 really want to highlight that. And I thought I was being a little, I guess, overly optimistic when I broke down the Tampa Bay film and I put that video together. But, man, he's been so good. That's why Nick Martin's not going to see the field. Batoon is your Mike starter. Winters is your Sam and Will. Where does Nick Martin play? He doesn't play Mike. He's not taking Winter's spot. It's a good thing. So I'm not saying that Batoon is better than Warner or like is filling in, but he's doing a great job, man. He is doing a great job. But yes, Fred is the better defender of the middle of the field, and that helps a lot. But even in that game, the 49ers gave up what, 30 something? In that game, 30, 31.
It was nice scoring.
Yeah, so and remember, that all happened later on in the game. That game started early. The 49ers were up 14-0. They had held the ball for so long. But when Stafford starts to hit and hit and hit and he starts to roll, that's when it starts to get a little afraid. So, but
he's
look,
dangerous. Sure.
No, I mean he's really good. He's a really, really good quarterback. And I also want to let people know, Puka Nacua played in that game. So did Devontae Adams. So did Kyron Williams. Like, the 49ers weren't facing a depleted Rams team. Like, Rob Havenstein wasn't in that game, but he's not good, so it doesn't matter. Let him play. So let him play at right tackle. Like, if you want to use that and say, our right tackle's back, he's not good anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's gonna be tough either way. But that's how those games go. Either the 49ers win, either the 49ers blow them out, or the Rams barely win. That's the only three ways that these games go with McVay and Shanahan. And I'm excited to find out where this defense is, because I don't feel like I learned too much against the New York Giants. I feel like I like you beating the New York Giants doesn't scream to me defense, we're back. That just means you did what you were supposed to do. Now, if you're talking about playoff teams, that's a playoff team over there.
Hmm.
Now we have to properly evaluate you and see where you're at in that way, in the same way that we felt about Tampa Bay, right? Like teams that are in that playoff part, we've got to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be a big test for sure for this team, and obviously huge implications for not just the NFC West but the whole NFC picture. I mean, since the first few weeks of the season where we got all of the NFC West games done pretty early, you know, the Seahawks and the Rams have gained a lot of ground on the 49ers, and you know, we still feel good about where the 49ers are at being 6-3, but you look at these rosters and you compare the two and you just know the 49ers are, you know, not in a spot to compete. But we also talk about the familiarity when you play division games. I mean, anything could happen. And we saw a lot of upsets last week, some within division, some within conference. And so you can never take any game lightly, but that goes for the Rams too. I mean, they can't just assume they're going to beat the Niners this time around just because they've been playing better. But yeah, I mean, I think it will be a bit of a heat check, I think, for the Niners, and hopefully Kyle does coach his ass off, man. You definitely gonna need it.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny because the thing that I'm going to be looking at in this game is I feel so much better about Renardo Green these last few weeks. And I know
He
I
looked
just talked
great
about
this last
yeah,
week, and he
I know
looked
I
great
just talked
against the
about like
Giants.
how it's the Giants and they don't have receivers, but this is 3 straight weeks in which he's given up like less than like 17 yards in coverage, man. After being picked on and picked on and picked on, he's been very, very good, man. So very interested to see where he lines up with Devontae Adams. I feel like in that Thursday night football game, Devontae Adams was open, but Stafford and him weren't connecting, and he was like overthrowing him a little bit, or they just weren't on the same page. Very interested to see how this goes because of the way that they move Puka Nacua around. You just want to see where Renardo Green is because I do think he'll probably see Devontae Adams more than he will anybody else, unless that's the entire game plan is to send Puka to his side.
Stout too. I thought Stout had a really good game on Sunday, and he was tested quite a bit the last time that
Hmm.
these two teams played, and so I expect that the Rams are going to try to go at him again, and hopefully it's a better performance for Stout, better than it was in week 5, I think is when they played. So hopefully he's learning along the way. But I like what I saw from him, both from coverage and also the run defense standpoint. Thought he was great.
And people asking like, how's the run defense going to look without Michael Williams? Well, we got Michael Williams at home. His name is Clelin Ferrell. I mean, isn't the whole idea of him just setting the edge? Right, like that's all they ever say about him, like on run defense. Even though he almost killed Jackson Dart, man alive. But um, I think run defense wise, the 49ers have actually been pretty good.
Yeah.
They've kind of bottled everybody else up. So I mean, the thing is that the Rams run a lot of duo, which is inside, and those defensive tackles. Are you gonna get blown off the ball? Are you gonna get pushed around? Like that's where you've got to have those guys. Like, look, man. If you're not going to trade for defensive lineman, CJ West better not be inactive for another game the rest of the season. Full stop. Full
Yeah. Well,
stop.
has anyone asked Kyle about that? Like why
Full
he's been,
stop.
or Salah, why he's been inactive 2 weeks in a row?
The team is running out guy after guy that you're like, oh, I kind of remember this guy, but CJ West is a healthy or I don't know if he's a healthy inactive, but he's inactive. Come on, man. He's got to play. If his hand is in the club, he can play. But him, Alfred Collins, you got to be there. Jordan Elliott, run stuffer, he's got to be those guys. And then hopefully Keion White, gets his chance as pass rushing. But you just don't want to see the 49ers having the blitz because Stafford is so good at pre-diagnosing it and
Yeah.
throwing into it and getting the ball out. So
Yeah.
it's going to be really interesting. I think the game plan's there, from that Thursday night game, but duplicating it again. I think the Rams are not going to allow a lot of those underneath throws. Depends on who plays. We could get a report tomorrow that Brock Purdy might be on pace to play on Sunday. We could get a report that both of his legs are going to be sheared off at the hips. Like, I mean, one of those two things is probably going to happen. So,
Well, we'll definitely probably get the former of like them acting like it's optimistic. He has a chance to play for the gamemanship aspect of it. Like they love that. They've been milking that for a few weeks. which is why we keep thinking that Brock's close to coming back, and then he's actually not. The team really knows that probably he's not, but they keep making it seem like he might. I would expect that this week, just so the Rams have to prepare for both, but no.
So, all right, and this is we got 10 minutes left. We can keep talking about the quarterbacks. I want to ask you, what are the main differences between Brock Purdy and Mac Jones, besides the fact that Brock can run?
I mean, to me, that is kind of the biggest difference, but also I feel like Mac's getting the ball out just a lot quicker, so more decisive. And that may be just by design, like, again, him just knowing that he's not mobile, just wanted to get the ball out quick to a guy. Whereas, Brock, at least in the last couple years, ever since 2023, man, like, Brock will look to find the best play that he could find, and sometimes it's just not there. So that's why sometimes he has to scramble out, and sometimes Brock does scramble out of clean pockets as well. Let's not forget that. And so I feel like, in a way, sometimes Brock could make his life a little more difficult or make things look harder than they need to be. But also, if the plays work out after a scramble, like, he looks really good. So, like, it kind of gives this image or this perception that, oh, wow, like, he saved the day. If he didn't scramble, that play would have never been made, kind of thing. Whereas what you're seeing from Mac is very vanilla. It feels very, like, almost boring. But if you look at their stats, if you look at their average depth of target for this season, again, small sample size for Brock, right? But it's about 7. It's like the same for both of them. But just it's looked different. I do think Mac has a better arm. And you see that in different moments. I want to see it more, honestly. But yeah, I would say those are probably the biggest difference between them.
The reason I bring it up is because the idea that Brock Purdy might play and then doesn't, the defense isn't like, oh my God, what are we gonna do, man? Oh my God, we prepared all week for Brock Purdy, and now it's Mac Jones. Yeah, it's the same.
That's why I was asking you earlier, like, why do you think that Brock really raises the ceiling of the offense that much more than?
Well, all right, but he does things. All right, so when you swing for the fences and you're a doubles and home runs hitter, you strike out more. When you're a singles hitter, you take your singles, right? But that's you just getting on base and hoping somebody else will knock you in. So for me, what I mean is, like, there is no competitive advantage of being like, yo, Brock might play, and then they rule him out Friday. You think the opposing defense is like, well, toss the whole damn defensive game plan out. What the hell are we going to do now? Mac Jones is playing. Come on. Like, Kyle, like, I get it, man. Like, you want to be mysterious. I think he likes playing around with the media and fans probably more when it comes to that. But defenses aren't going, like, it's not the difference between starting Lamar Jackson and Mac Jones. Yeah. If you're preparing for Lamar Jackson, you've got everything in it to stop him on defense, on runs, all this stuff, and then it's his pocket passer. They're the same guy, realistically, when it comes to, like, how defenses defend them. So, like, there is no competitive advantage, right? Like, you think Shula's going to be like, that damn Kyle, he's so crafty. I put my whole game plan in for Mac Jones, and now Brock's going to play. We're screwed. We might as well not even play the game. Like, it's not that big of a competitive advantage.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
So, I hope
but that's Kyle, because he likes messing around with the media, and he likes, do you remember the day before the week of the last game against the Rams after Trey started against Houston, and all week he was like, yeah, I know who we're starting, but I don't want to tell you. It's like, did I answer your question? And then he like, bro, like, you're just doing this all the time. Like, like, who cares, man? Like, it's not really gonna change how defenses look at you, especially between these two guys. I really don't see stylistically too many things where a defense is gonna be like, damn, that's a completely different player than we prepared for this entire week. So yeah,
right, agree.
Yeah. All right, Steph, are you fully recovered from this weekend? Because I'm on Tuesday, and if I don't get... Yeah?
I feel great, dude. I wasn't hungover once.
Who said I'm hungover? I just said I'm not recovered.
Same thing.
My body hurts, man. Like, I just want to stay in bed. Like, I'm like, I'm to the point where I had such a good time this weekend, and obviously with the team in town, that is really cool, and to see everybody, and to get a chance to talk with other Niners fans at party. Um, I don't want them to come back, and they're coming back next year.
you're, you're like, you need the entire year to recover, basically.
Yo, I looked, and they were, and it said away opponents, the Giants. I was like, oh, not again.
Oh, you know what? You know what, Jay? Maybe it's because you're turning a year older tomorrow.
Oh, you telling everybody now?
Happy early birthday.
Oh God, I can't wait to spit. Oh, did y'all talk about that?
You should have done a kicker update, man.
Dude, that would have been fire. Cause I love that. I love my kicker.
Yeah,
nobody cares about the kicker position more than I do right now. What happened, Steph? Go ahead.
Me and Rob were plotting behind the scenes, though.
That's some bull crap. But yeah, look, I'm fine. With the 49ers not making the move. We're just gonna find out who they are, and this is all evaluation time right now. I just want to see Brock Purdy play football, and I want to see what this offense was supposed to be because they paid him, and I want to know what we've invested in because we just really have to figure this out. You just can't have another lost season of where Mac Jones plays so good that next year we're like, well, Brock's on the block, or like, should they trade Brock? Like, I can't go through that.
Oh my goodness!
So, shout out to everybody. Thank you guys so much, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, Ozzy says happy early birthday to Jason and my wife Christine. Y'all Scorpios are a handful. I think I'm chill. I don't know, Steph. Right? I wasn't wilding. Right? I wasn't chill.
No,
all right, that'll do it for this episode. Wait. So before we get out of here, so I went to the box office real quick with somebody to see if we could score some last minute tickets. And a young man, I forgot his name, and I apologize, dude. If you're watching, you know exactly who I'm talking about. He's like, yo, you're Jason. I watch. He goes, I love every Tuesday. You and Steph. This is when you went and you put your car in the bag. And he's like, where's Rob? He was like, didn't he come out here? And I was like, oh, buddy. Like, I did the hand on the shoulder thing. And I was like, oh, buddy. I was like, he didn't make it, man. I was like, I'm sorry, dude. But he was really excited about that as well, too. But shout out to him, man. Just so many people that like really kind of reminded me that, like, yeah, you know what? While we get a lot of shit sometimes from people and they call us crazy names and they talk crazy about us, there's way more people that enjoy what we do than don't, and we need to always focus in on those people more, highlight the positivity instead of the negativity. But yeah, people were asking for you, Rob. So, all right, that'll do it for this episode of the Bully Ball Podcast on the Gold Standard Podcast Network. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. Make sure you are subscribed to the Gold Standard Podcast Network, wherever you get your audio podcast. Make sure you follow Steph on Twitter at Steph49K. Follow me on Twitter at JasonAponte2103. We both have YouTube channels too, so if you want to go ahead and check those out, you can. But appreciate you guys for being here. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. For Steph, for Jay, we're out here.
Peace.